Hi everyone, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here. Just rearranging her. Just realised I got the mic about a mile away. Here we go. It's only been a couple of weeks and I'm already completely. So anyway, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here with another bit of pop chat. And today, this is a little jump on quick review for A Working Man. So the latest Jason Statham film, and that's why I was umming and ahhing whether to even review this, because at the end of the day, the review basically is a Jason Statham film. What else is there to say? But the reason I must admit I don't normally go to the cinema really to watch his stuff, and I love his stuff. Just put out there. You know exactly what you're getting. It does what it says, and they're just fun, right? They're just escapism, and they're fun, and they're ridiculous. And the Meg is just so ridiculous, but I can't help but love it. And I rewatched The Beekeeper last night as well. So I must admit, when I saw the trailer for this, I was a bit like, isn't this just The Beekeeper again? So that's why I wasn't particularly like, I thought, it's going to be fun. I'll wait for it to come onto streaming. And then I found out that this is based on a Chuck Dixon graphic novel. I think it's got a different title. I think it's Levin or something, because Levin's his name, something like that. But then David Ayer is directing this, and the screenplay was David Ayer and Sylvester Stallone. So how could I not go to the cinema to see this? It was just like, hey, I've got to go check this out, right? So so we start off that the opening credits, basically, which is quite cleverly done. It's as the opening credits, it's like sort of animation-y-ish segment, basically kind of showing his character's backstory. So he's some sort of special forces in a joint British American squad. It's not, it's no particular country or battle that's highlighted, but while they're there, one of his colleagues, like friends, who's also in the same platoon, there's an explosion and he's blinded, and Statham's character like carries him out, and he's then left, and then you basically see that he then goes on to be working in construction. So it kind of opens up, he's on the construction site. He's obviously very close to, and it's a family-run business, the Garcias, and it's mum and dad and their daughter, who's at college, but she also works for the family business. Obviously the apple of their parents' eye, very talented girl. She does piano recitals, and she could have got a scholarship for her music, but she opted to go and do business, to be like a dad, so she could take over the firm. But they're all like really close to this guy, and these people are like his family. And there's basically one day there's one of the guys on the construction site. These two sort of thugs turn up and start beating him up, and Jason Statham's character intervenes, beats them up, sees them off, thinks nothing more of it. But obviously the people they work for, this kind of catches their attention, and then before we know it, the daughter of the Garcias is then kidnapped, so they basically go to him and say, hey, look, can you help us? We know that you were in the forces. We've never pried, we've never asked. And he's like, no, I can't do that. That's not me anymore. And then you've also found out that he's got a daughter, a young daughter, who's living with the grandfather. That's his deceased wife's father, who deleted herself, and the grandfather blames him because he was away. He was posted. She suffered from depression, so he wasn't there, and she couldn't cope. So there seems to be some sort of custody battle going on there. He has very limited visitation rights. The girl absolutely adores him, and the grandfather's just being as difficult as he can, and is basically just trying to get like completely preventing him from seeing his daughter. And he's basically claiming that he's got some untreated PTSD, and he's basically a psycho, and he's all a bit muddled in the head from what he saw during his tours of duty, etc. So he's basically initially reluctant to go down this path to find the daughter, case there's repercussions with him losing his own daughter. But obviously very quickly, he's a good guy. This doesn't sit right. And there was a scene like after he saw off the hooligans that the daughter's name's Jenny. She comes across and says like, "Hey dude, what was that?" And he goes, "You didn't see anything." And she goes, "Oh, you like some special forces or something?" He goes, "Don't know what you're talking about." And she just says, "Oh, just promise me that you'll have my back." And he's like, "Yeah, no worries, So he then changes his mind. He goes to see his friend, I think it's Gunny, who is the guy he rescued, who was blinded, that we saw in the opening credits. And basically kind of sort of fills him in on what's going on. And he's like, and it's this guy played by David Harbour from obviously Stranger Things, Hopper. And he's basically like, why are you talking to me like you sort of want my permission when you've already made up your mind you're going to go get her anyway? So this sort of sets a whole sequence in motion about him trying to track down, find out who's got her. And this leads to him basically finding out this is all connections with the Russian mob. And things just escalate and escalate and escalate. And there's a high body count, and it's absolutely ludicrous, and it's brilliant. And, he's just, he's taking on the Russian mob, determined to get this girl back. The action scenes are very good. It's not as kind of full on back-to-back action like The Beekeeper. There is quite a lot of dialogue, and it's a slower pace with him actually not just running sort of headlong into the action. You sort of see him doing surveillance, trying to figure out who's who. He's looking at the police files. You also find out there's like police on the bankroll, and he's getting involved in all these sort of shady deals to try and get close to who it is in the Russian mob who's taken the girl. So it seems like he's like buying, posing as like a meth buyer and all this kind of crazy stuff. And then obviously and then you find out that the person in the Russian mob who arranged for her to be taken, his father is a very high up in the Russian mob, but there's a lot of friction between the higher ups in the mob and this guy's son, because he basically doesn't play by the rules. Like there's, in mafia and mob, there's a certain hierarchy and a certain set of rules, and you do things a certain way, and there's things that you do and you don't do. And he's very much shunned, and he's kind of a bit, he's protected but kind of ostracized a bit, because basically he's an embarrassment to his father. He doesn't, he gets involved in stuff he shouldn't be getting involved with. So there's sort of a fine line between are they or aren't they going to go after Statham? What's going to happen, all this? And I'm not going to say because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a Statham film. I'm sure you can guess how it ends. So overall, very entertaining. Like I say, the action's quite good. The pacing is a little bit ploddy, but it was actually quite nice to see something a bit more sort of thought through, rather than just like, right, they go get some weapons and they just barge into situations without like sussing out first and manage to always come out fine. I mean, it is completely like with all these kind of films, not just Statham films, but of course you have to, take what you see in the picture, extend it, you imagine, this disbelief. That you got all these people firing machine guns everywhere and can't a bit like stormtroopers, couldn't hit a barn if they're standing in it, but he can go around killing everybody with one shot. So there's lots of that nonsense going on, but there's some great action scenes, say some great violence. And like the thing with his daughter, I mean, it's come a bit of a trope now that all these hard guys have a young daughter, and underneath it all they got a heart of gold and that kind of thing. And but it was really nice, really refreshing to see like he is a good dad and he adores his daughter. and the daughter adores him as well. There's not this kind of, he's actually not a bad dad, and that was really refreshing to see as well. And I think Stallone does that a lot in his films, that given obviously the tragic loss of his son and things like that, I think fatherhood, and that comes a lot across in Tulsa King as well. He's very, trying to be a good dad and protective. That comes through in a lot of his stuff. So that was really good to see, and nice and refreshing that he just wasn't this like deadbeat dad, even though and the grandfather's made out to be a right arsehole as well. He's sort of this hippy dippy, guy who's constantly trying to provoke him to basically get custody of the granddaughter. So that was really good. I enjoyed that aspect of it. There's a bit that reminds you I couldn't help thinking of blimmin' Marvel and Echo, and because some of a couple of the Russians have got these designer sort of tracksuits on, a bit a la The Gentleman, the film with Colin Farrell. They're these hot idiots, but designer tracksuits, and you're just thinking of like say Echo with the Kingpin, and he takes over the Russian tracksuits. It's just like, so that did make me laugh. Much better than Echo, and how it's all sort of hung together and all the families and kind of what happened. So very violent, well thought out, great story, and it's great to see Jason. God, my brain's just sort of got just like I just lost about 3 brain cells just mentioning the word Echo. So Jason Statham and Jason Fleming back together, obviously alumni from Lock, Stock. So Jason plays one of the sort of villain's father in this. He's the higher up in the Russian mafia. You've also got Michael, is it Pena, Pena, who's the girl's father. Joe Garcia, who most people would probably know from Ant-Man, as he's sort of Ant-Man's best friend, who they just ditched the character for Ant-Man 3, whatever. But yeah. So I can't say it's like Oscar worthy, but you just want some Statham fun, action, the usual good guy taking out the bad guys. I recommend this film. It's a great bit of escapism, great bit of fun, a couple of funny bits in there as well. So I'll end as I started. It's a Statham film. You know exactly what you're going to get, and it's delivered really well. So that's it. There's not much more to say. But go treat yourselves. Go watch it on the big screen. And as ever, please do like, share, and subscribe. Drop me a comment. Are you planning to go see it? So generally, I normally wait for these things to come on to streaming, but given the quality of the source material, David Ayer and Stallone and Statham, how can you say no? Get your butts down to it and support your local cinema. Go watch A Working Man. So that's it. Let me know what you think. And I will be back soon with some more pop chat. You take care now. Bye-bye.